Yeah, do these three things, your dream life will manifest. First thing is first is look within. Instagram is not going to riddle and remedy all your life's problems because Instagram's not real. It's full of people who don't even know what the hell they're doing. I'm not saying that's bad, but what I'm saying to you is, what if you spent all your time looking everywhere else in the world? You blaming white people, you blaming men, you blaming girls, you blaming everything in the world, but you never looked within. So imagine you spent all of your time existing. You might be 18 watching this, 28, 38, 48. I don't know how old you are or what age you are, but if you spend all of your time not getting the things you want, looking outside of you for the things you want, that could be a little crazy. Let me explain. What I mean by that is the world is based off of your perceptions. I know this sounds like it's some foo-foo shit or it's make-believe. Listen to me. Y'all know y'all been locked in for years, but if you're new to the video, pay attention to what I'm saying about look within. So as you think, so your subconscious begins to create the reality based upon the stuff that you look for or think about. So what I mean by that is if you start looking within and you understand that you are composed of particles or atoms, right? Everything is composed of these things, but none of these things touch because they're all composed of energy. All these things are made up of energy, right? And so that means you are composed of it too. Whether it's water, whether it's words, whether it's everything runs off of that premise, right? So the atoms or the particles that exist know whether they're being observed or not. So what that means is whatever you're thinking and you start thinking about yourself and you start looking for it in yourself, the reality will create. Here's an example. A lot of y'all, let's say you want to lose weight, right? And you never discovered a certain sport. You never discovered a certain food, a diet you could follow. You never knew anything about it. That diet already existed. But when you change your way of thinking and you start observing yourself from an outside view, you started observing yourself differently, everything around you changed because it gave you new ideas. So your subconscious thoughts that you had and you believe were true about the past of you being obese or losing weight or not going to sleep, whatever, that was your reality. But when you started to think of new things that you wanted, new opportunities and new things developed for you that already existed but didn't exist to you in your world. And what I mean by this is that the consciousness of the universe itself is so vast that the reality does not even exist until you think it. That means when you start looking within and you start saying, I got the power to change it. I can do this. I can change the life I want. Y'all used to see my videos. It used to be olive green colored room. I didn't have that plaque back there. It wasn't anybody watching. Then I started to think of the reality, the life that I wanted. So you don't get what you want in this life. You get what you expect. Because most people you know that go to your church, that's in your family, they're not lazy, but their brains are stuck in the past of learned helplessness. So their reality will always be the same because they've told themselves that by looking within their own selves is lack. It takes a long time. They got to work hard. They don't deserve money. Money's bad. All these things that they've told themselves because it's their own learned helplessness. So with that being said, think about this. If you want a new car, you want a new life, you want a new girl, you want some paper, you want all these amazing things, why don't you start thinking about, if I think that reality's hard, or I have to work hard to get something, or I have to be this to get girls, I have to be this to get respect, I have to be this to become a millionaire, I have to be this, what you think is coming your way? If you think it's hard to become an entrepreneur, if you think it's hard to do taxes, if you think it's hard to pass that algebra exam, if you think it's hard to level up in life, I promise you, so it will be. Unless of course, you have that small ray of optimism in your body where you say, I think I'm going to do amazing at this. I'm good with this. I believe it. I operate with certainty that my conscious thinking is here and is thinking upon what skills do I have? Not so much how can I get to what I want, but what do I want? What are the emotions attached to me? What capabilities do I think of myself? And the reason step number one is so important, number one, and looking within is so important because the millisecond you start looking within and you get that fed up point where you like, nah, something got to change. I need change and this will happen. Everyone around you might think it's weird, but all of a sudden something shifts. Because the moment you mix clarity, perception, and emotion together, the universe starts to mold and adapt for you. So tip number one, start looking within. Instagram may not cure all your things unless you're looking up how to help and grow yourself. Number two, your emotion, your perception determine your reality. And that's coming from a guy who always says, fuck how you feel. It doesn't matter how you feel, what your feelings are. That's not true, and I stand corrected. Your feelings are very true, but it's just that your feelings are true. That doesn't mean you always have to act on them. Sometimes it's okay to put your feelings aside to do something that will be for the greater good or for the benefit. You may be a bit tired, but you still have to go to work today. You might feel lazy, but you still got employees, kids, people that depend on you. So it may be in your best interest to still do things you don't feel like doing. But paying attention to how you feel, Boy, is that key. Let me explain. So how you feel is so key because perception is everything. All of us, you might have brothers, sisters, people, co-workers that go to the same job, same family as you. But if you ask them, how was their day? How is it working here? They might say it's lovely, it's great. They go to sleep on time. They have good habits. They are punctual. They do all the work. They might ask you or John, Jamal, or whoever it is about how is the job? How is it living here? They might think it's terrible because they're late. They have bad habits. They have poor hygiene. They have poor communication skills. They think in victim mindset. So therefore, their perception is this is hard. So when you ask them, how was that test? How was the food? How was this? Because their perception is one of negativity. So when listening to people that have that type of persona or perception, you have to understand it comes with the connotation of this shit's going to be hard or it's going to be negative. So as Neville Goddard says, as we end off step number 2, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So when you start assuming the feelings of your wish fulfilled, you're going to move different. Your clothes going to fit better. You're going to look better. You're going to stand taller. All of a sudden, everything in your reality starts to just go perfectly. All of a sudden, you're lucky. All of a sudden, everything is just going according to plan. Who planned it? You and your subconscious planned it. Whatever you perceive and however you feel about that perception or the perceptions you have yet to develop will then form the reality you want or live, whether you know it or not. By knowing this last and final third thing, this is going to help seal the deal. This is the icing on the cake. This is so simple. It's free. You can do it right from your house. You can do it anywhere. I suggest you do it multiple times a day. Think positively about your future as if you were already a star of a movie. I want you to think every day somebody just hit your line and say, I want you to star in this movie. So imagine if you got a call today, right? And whatever your dream or your goal is, for this example, it's a movie. Let's say, hey, you got the role for the movie. That means every day when you go to work, you're going to talk about it. When you get off the phone, you're going to talk about it. You're going to feel it. All of a sudden, when you walk through the store, your clothes just fit nice. You feel good. You have a different vibrance or vibration about you that you didn't have before that phone call. But all the phone call was words, and then your perception shaped the reality and how you feel. You see that? Whoever called you on the phone, it was just a call, which was words. The words were a vibration. You heard it, you then perceived it and thought something. When you thought something, it changed how you felt. You see how simple that was? When you start thinking of everything you want as already going the way you want, it's already planned. Baby, I'm blessed. I'm too blessed. I'm not stressed. Think about what the hell worrying does. Cortisol levels, it makes you stress. Stress is the number one autoimmune disease causer in existence. Thinking is so powerful. What you think monks do all day? What do you think meditation is? To a degree, there's different kinds, but it's to be present in the now, but to be present with your thoughts, be present with your breath, and what you're thinking and breathing every day, you can control. Let me give you some of my favorite quotes that go along with this. Reality doesn't exist until you decide what it looks like. Your future is shaped by what you choose not to worry about. Quantum leaping is real. Scarcity is an illusion. Think like the version of you who already won, and you'll start skipping steps. Money, clients, peace, they don't come from control, they come from alignment. You are the algorithm. Code your mind, change the feed. People who assume they're valuable get paid like it. I'm gonna say that last one again. People who assume they're valuable get paid like it. In order to assume you're valuable, you gotta think like it. You gotta feel like it. You gotta carry yourself like it. You gotta feel like it and operate like it in all facets. Let me know what you thought of the video. Like, subscribe. If you want more of these videos, drop a comment. Change your life right now. 3 steps. You did!